What is up, everyone? Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Game Cast. This is actually episode 84. I had to think about that. It's been a minute. But I'm one of your hosts, Kenny, and with me is Tess.
Hey everybody.
And yeah, we have a lot of cool stuff to talk about today. Before we get into all that, though, we're going to talk a little bit about our week because we always do that. Because you want to know. You want to know what we've been up to. So I'm here to tell you. I'm here to tell you. No, my week has been decent. I had a pretty interesting week in turn, like on a personal level, trying to juggle working out, and I started a new training program,
Mm,
and I end up gaining weight. And what happens with that is like you're gaining muscle, and so you're
mhm.
gonna get heavier. But I'm also trying to lose weight. In like a particular order, I want to lose weight and gain muscle, and that's actually you're able to do that, but it's difficult. And when you're looking at the, you know, not every day, but when I do my weigh in, I'm looking at the scale. I'm like, I'm up, and I was only up like a few pounds or whatever.
Mm,
And so immediately, what goes through your head is like, what did I eat this week? What did I do this week that was different? What did I?
mm.
And when I went to see my doctor, it was kind of more of the same, and they weren't like upset or surprised or anything. 'Cause they were like, I've already lost well over 100 pounds, and so they were like, whatever, it happens. um, but for me, it was kind of like, you gotta get together, because there's like this fear that I'm gonna, blow back up, get my
Mm.
COVID weight back, and that's not something I'm willing to do at all. And that took a little mental toll. But beyond that, I was able to play a bunch of games, watch a bunch of TV shows. I caught up. I finally watched Severance. Me and my wife finished it, or my wife and I should say, finished it last night. And yeah, Severance is interesting. I It's one of those things where it ends on a cliffhanger that is really well done and really poorly done at the same time. I am so mad at this show
How? How is
because of the
that
way it ends.
possible?
So, without giving anything away, there are three major story threads that are happening at the same time, and they all come to like a conclusion, kinda, at the end. And two of them are very important, they're huge, and one of them not so much. And it's being sandwiched in between. And what happens is a lot of screen time is, I don't want to say wasted because nothing is wasted. Everything is
Mhm.
purposeful and everything is meaningful, but a lot of screen time is wasted on these mundane acts when these huge things are going on at the same time, and there's the clock is ticking. Like, these characters have to get something done within a certain amount of time, and they're kind of like lackadaisical about it. And like, so,
Mhm.
and I know what this is. This is for the audience. Like, it gets the blood flowing. You're like, oh my god, please, can you stop talking to this person, go do what you need to do, because you're all gonna die, something along those lines, right? And so then while it's going, in the back of your mind is like, the clock is ticking. You're like, come on, like, you guys gotta, let's keep it moving. And like, they slowly inch towards like a revelation. They slowly inch towards some type of resolution. And
Mhm.
then when we get to the huge like climactic part, it just stops. And it's like, I hate all of you because now I'm invested and now I have to watch the second season. But I low key don't want to watch the second season because I was so angry with how this show just kind of move. It's very methodical and very slow moving, even
Mhm.
though it's very well written. I don't know how you do this. I don't know, and it's one of those things where I guess artistically you can kind of appreciate the approach. It's unique in what they are
Mhm.
trying to do, but at the same time understand that our time is finite,
Yeah.
and this could have been shorter. It really could have been. A lot of things are stretched out. Um, and this debate, not so much with Severance, but a debate in terms of how much time is needed to convey a message, to convey whatever it is you're, either character growth or some type of point, you know and some places can get to it really quickly, and it's okay. Like, if you think of the film Up from Pixar, the opening of that film is about two, husband and a wife, and the one of the spouses passing and what that does to the main character. That's not a spoiler. The movie's mad old, folks, and you see like a couple of scenes. It's really not that long at all, but it's it pulls like on the heartstrings, and you get it. You understand why this character is the way he is,
Mhm.
I guess I kind of gave that away. You understand why he's the way he is when the movie starts, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't take forever to get there. You showed what you needed to show to convey to the audience why this person is like this. Whereas other films take forever to just show you that, oh, these people care about each other. And like the Eternals, for instance. The
Mhm.
Eternals does this a lot where they revisit scenes and the spot where we once stood that one time back in the day, and it's like it's so long and almost excruciating to the point of you know damaging a decent film. I thought the Eternals was pretty decent. It's long.
Yeah, it's mediocre
It, I
at
thought
best.
here's the thing, right? I thought that the Eternals was good in the sense that you have an ensemble cast,
Mhm.
all these different characters that a lot of people, I mean, I'm a comic book head, so I know them, but a lot of people
Mhm.
don't know anything about these characters, and you made it work in a story. As opposed to like the Justice League, the original one, where everybody knows Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, and you totally screwed them all up. Like,
Mhm.
I didn't care anything about these characters on screen because there was no character growth, there was no introduction to these characters. I only cared about them because I knew about them prior to the film. If that would have happened with the Eternals, it would have been much worse than what it is. And I think
Yeah.
that takes a you have that takes skill to have that many characters and them all to feel important and nobody knows who the hell they are beforehand. That
Yeah.
takes a lot of skill personally.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, it does.
so but yeah, there are scenes where I'm like, you could just edit this whole shit out and it would be okay. Um, and so that's how I felt about Severance. I'm like, yo, we could like, and granted, I'm not a director, writer, any of those things, in terms of creating a TV show, but with so much content all over the place, with so many
Mhm.
shows, with so little time to watch them all,
Mhm.
it's like, wow, we could speed this up. And it's only 8 episodes. And to be fair, it's like, I think the first few are like an hour, then they slowly drop to like 43 minutes afterwards.
Mhm.
But it drops in time when you need those answers. Like when it's just a bunch of stuff we don't really care about, it's like, oh, it's an hour. But when it's stuff that's like, oh, we're getting to the good stuff and we're going to stop it right here. Like, no, don't do that. That being said, Severance is a really good show. I do want to make, you know, even though I have criticism of it, I don't want to make it sound like it's a bad show. It's a
Mhm.
very good show. One of Apple Plus's or Apple TV's best shows, and one of
Yeah.
the best shows of the year, actually. But that doesn't mean it's not without its flaws. And the just to paint the picture, there's a scene of a character walking down a hallway. There's no windows. There's no there's doors, but it's like there's no indication of what they are, or like symbols like door number one, door number two. It's just like a long hallway as he's going into this building, and it's like a 5 minute walk. We're just kind of like following him as he's turning corners, somehow knowing where to go in this maze. All these white walls and nothing's happening, and there are some little cues there about his character while this is happening. But if you're just watching this, you're like, oh, this is a long kind of a long thing that we're stretching out. And then it
Mhm.
happens again later on. It's like, wow, like, all right, I get it. Like, what is the point of this? And
Yeah.
there's some things that work, and because I'm trying not to spoil it, but there's some things that work within the show that where being methodical is like, oh, I totally get what you're trying to do here. And then there's other times where I'm like, this is an artistic thing. This is a like your vision with no edits, and because of
Mm.
that, it can be excruciating, I guess is a word. I don't know. Anyways, go check it out for yourself. The full seasons is already out, and it's good. Just it's a slow burn, and I mean that in the strongest sense possible.
Mhm.
I also started The Witcher second
Mhm.
season,
Yeah,
and it's
finally.
really freaking good
Mhm.
so far. Especially if you played the games. I haven't read the books, so I can't really speak about that part. But as far as playing the games, it's really good, really well acted.
Mhm.
And like I said, this is the best role for that particular actor, Henry,
Henry Cavill.
because he's very stoic, or at least he. Whenever he plays Superman, he's like mad stoic, and I'm like, you can you like bend a little? He's kind of like Keanu in that sense. They real stiff. It works with The Witcher. and that's, that's on Netflix. I'm almost done with it,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's really solid. So yeah, go check those out if you haven't. But that's been my week. Been catching up
Love
on a lot of
Henry.
stuff. I was able to get a full year of Apple TV via T-Mobile, so that was dope. Haven't paid anything,
Cool.
and I also got a deal with Shutter. So I'm trying to catch up on stuff. I know people have been talking about all these shows. They've been asking me about them. I have no idea because I don't have time. But I'm like, you know what? I got time today. And so I've been trying to like catch up. I got Shutter. I'm gonna get Paramount Plus again so I can watch Halo. Apparently Master Chief had sex. There's a whole lot of stuff going on that I'm just missing, and I want to talk about it on the cast. I also saw Doctor Strange. I went
Okay,
to
cool.
Cine Bistro. There wasn't that many people in there, thank God. And Doctor Strange is a really good movie as long as you don't mind that there's no character growth with Doctor Strange at all. It's a sandwich movie or like a group movie, if you will, with Wanda and him. It literally, you don't even have to watch Spider Man. It picks up from WandaVision and goes straight into this movie, thematically. And I'm not gonna spoil it, but I will say that Wanda is. There's a line in the film that you see like via the trailer where she's like, I did something wrong and I'm a bad guy, and you did something wrong and you're a hero. It's not fair. And I want to be like, yes, because neither of you did the same thing. Wanda, because of her grief, held an entire town captive, physically and mentally hurting them because of her grief.
Mhm.
Doctor Strange looked through time and found the only way that we could survive Thanos was with the time, giving him the time stone, which led to everyone dying and then eventually coming back. Yeah, those are two big different things. Like just very different. And at first I thought they were talking about Spider-Man because he kind of messed up in the recent Spider-Man film. But no, they're actually talking about Thanos. And I'm like, Doctor Strange? This is not the same. Like he died. You realize he sacrificed himself. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that. We're gonna have a whole that's a whole nother cast. But
Yeah, since I haven't
yeah,
seen any of this.
yes. It's I'm not gonna this because this is all the stuff that I'm talking about is from the trailer.
Mhm.
But they kind of like lean into it a little bit, and I feel like there's this weird thing that people are talking about or debating on Twitter in terms of Wanda being right or wrong, like her grief allowing her to do whatever, and all I see is like white woman's tears. That's all I see. Like I get that there's like you lost something, but if you watch the show, like two of the people that she lost aren't even real. Let's be fair. Let's be real
Mhm.
about that. And the things that she goes through in the film, it's like, dog, you're doing all this stuff for it just doesn't make sense to compare at least to Doctor Strange. But
I
yeah, good
mean,
movie. It's horror
yeah.
based, which is something I liked, and it's one of the most violent MCU films ever. I think has some dope cameos. If you're a fan of if you're a fan of like Marvel films in general, not just in the MCU, and yeah, I think you should check it out. I just par your expectations with something that's a little bit along the lines of like I don't know, maybe Spider-Man 2, maybe Iron Man 2. Like it's a good movie, but there is absolutely no growth in Doctor Strange. He is the same person as he is in the beginning as he is at the end. Because it's a movie
Interesting.
with multiple heroes. And that's one of my main criticisms of the film. It's really someone else's show and he's kind of there. He's important, but he's just kind of there.
They
So
should
I
have
would
called
like
it Wanda in the Multiverse of Madness.
I mean, yeah, I really wish there was like with the MCU going forward now, I would like to see the movies stand on their own a little bit more like they did previously, where
Uh-huh.
we're not just ushering in the new thing. Like Doctor Strange is literally the multiverse so we can get new characters. This is what it feels like. And even
Unfair
though
to Doctor
I
Strange, because I love Doctor Strange. I feel like it's
right,
unfair to him because the Doctor Strange. First of all, I love the Doctor Strange movie, and Benedict Cumberbatch is amazing. Almost everything he
right?
touches is gold. He's only had a few flops, and but I love him, and I thought he was such a great pick for that. I really enjoyed the Doctor Strange movie. I mean, I know we all know Tilda Swinton being cast as the ancient one was, but
Right.
at the same time, I effing love Tilda Swinton. I gave her a pass because I love Tilda Swinton. I love everything she does, and I loved
It's
her in
the
that
feelings are
role.
complicated.
They are. I mean, look, I get it. I totally understand it, but it's like if you're gonna whitewash, if you're gonna do something that's, kind of like assholic, please use Tilda Swinton because that'll just knock everything down. I'll just be like, you know what? Fuck it. It's Tilda Swinton for crying out loud. Okay, just leave it alone. I'm happy. I'm happy. So my thing is, I really enjoyed the Doctor Strange movie. I love Doctor Strange. I thought it was a great movie, and then you come to find out it's the most underperforming of the MCU.
Really?
Yeah. I learned that from plug Screen Rant. I learned that
No.
from what is it called? What's the thing that I like? Pitch Meeting. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
it was on Pitch Meeting. It was like it said something. It was like, yeah, Doctor Strange I mean, it didn't make as much money as they thought it was gonna make. It was like the least income or whatever at the box office. And it was just like, wait, what? Why? Like what?
That's strange.
Because it was so
And not no
good.
pun intended.
Right. Yeah, so, but anyway, I feel like it's unfair, but what I'm thinking is if that were the case and maybe the studio was concerned that the same thing would happen. They could
Oh,
have
I
been
see.
concerned that the same thing would happen, and so they're like, "You know what? We need to put other characters in here that people are more interested in, that people are a little bit more invested in," because for some reason, I don't know if it was the timing at, like, when Doctor Strange came out. I'm not sure if people were just, like, not as interested in his story, which is just weird because, I mean, I know people liked it, but if that were the case, if money was the issue, then yeah, it makes sense that the studio was like, let's just make a Doctor Strange movie, but it's not going to be
I
about him.
mean, I think it's working, and also I think this Doctor Strange, because it's already made over 500 mil.
Uh-huh.
Almost it's going to eclipse the original easy.
Yeah.
But I think part of it is because, like you said, they did add other characters like Wanda, and we want to see people want to see these characters and how they interact with each other. But
Yeah.
then also, it's the coming off the strength of Spider-Man. He was in Spider-Man, and he did such a
Yeah.
great job there that it was like we got it. We the follow up. We want to see what comes next, and then introducing the multiverse and pulling all these characters from other superhero films that weren't a part of, because when Marvel sold all their film rights to all these
Yeah.
different places, you had all these different versions of people running around, and so having them being pulled from them and actually having the original actors and everything was like a huge
Mhm.
big deal. And so we're like, oh, we're gonna see more of that in Doctor Strange, which we did. And so I totally get why it's making way more money.
Mhm.
But as far as like quality of film, I think this is entertaining and it's a good film based on collective knowledge of what's going on in the MCU.
Mhm.
Whereas Doctor Strange alone was just good. Like you
Mhm.
didn't have to see any other film before or after, and Doctor
I
Strange would have
know.
been just fine. You know what I mean?
I love that. I watched that movie so many times. I've seen that movie a bunch.
It's
I
solid.
Yeah, it was a solid movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I know people. I mean, I don't get it. Like people watch what they want to watch or whatever. But that was one of my faves. I loved it. I love the damn cape. Like,
Right.
like
And oh, and Wong needs his own film. Freaking
Wong
like
does. He does. He either needs his own film, which would be fun, which would be great, or he needs not like a full TV show like Loki. You know what I mean? But like he needs 15-minute short.
yeah,
Like,
he needs
several
something
fifteen-minute episodes.
where he's like jumping into these films because he literally jumps into these films. This one he's in more often, but like in Shang-Chi, he jumped in kind of
Yeah,
at the beginning at the end. You know what I mean? So like just to kind of see what he's doing in his off
yeah,
time or like, you know what I mean? Like that would be
mhm,
really cool to have on Disney Plus. Disney, come on.
yeah. Listen
Like
to us, we've got great ideas.
Wong is great. Like in every aspect. We need more
Yeah.
of him. But yeah, so that was me. So how was your week?
Week was, it was weak. And outside of the, constant illness,
Right.
I did finally catch up on This Is Us, and
Oh,
which was like a mistake. Like, look, I can't always get down with This Is Us. It's too depressing. Like, it's such a good show. It really is. Like, it's well written, and there's all kind, just stuff, but it's just very it's emotional. It takes you through a
yeah.
bunch of emotions, and so sometimes I know, like, I'm like, yeah, I'm not really trying to feel feelings right now. I need things because I'm dead inside. I need deadening things. I don't want to feel stuff. And but anyway, I did watch it anyway because I'm also a glutton for punishment, and I caught up on everything, and this is going to be the final season. And I have to, I have a comment. I really do, because I've been saying this since at least season 2.
Mm.
Why it takes 6 seasons to get Miguel an episode? I just don't understand. I don't understand. Miguel has been treated like a redheaded stepchild. He this is he's been like Cuban embargoed, and the man's Puerto Rican. It's not fair. It's not fair. Okay? It's not. The way that he is treated is not fair. I don't know why this man never got a full episode dedicated to Miguel and his family and where he comes from. He is the quintessential side character, and I'm extremely upset about this because I understand writing. I get it. I know, like, you need certain characters do certain things. Certain characters are catalysts for other characters.
Right.
X, Y, and Z. You have your 3 main characters and you have everything around them, and I get it. I totally understand what, why he is such a static character. His job is to be like, not just obviously the literal supporting role. I get that that's his
Right.
purpose. But the point is that he does have emotions, and it would make sense to know why he is the way he is versus all of these flashback episodes from all the other characters. And just for more context, Miguel, because I'm just yelling out his name like people know who he is. You should. Miguel Rivas, who actually went into a job interview with a resume with the name Michael Rivers. Very smart, because his name is Miguel Rivas. And he
Oh, yeah.
got the job. He got the job when he sent in the resume that was Mike Rivers. They hired him, but he had sent the same resume with Miguel Rivas, and they didn't call him.
Well, you know how that is.
Racist. Racist. Anyway, so Miguel is I don't even want to call him stepdad, because he didn't marry the 3 kids' mom until they were like well old. So Miguel
Still
is,
counts.
yeah, but so the story This Is Us is based on, it's mom and dad, and then they have 3 kids, the triplets, right?
Right.
They had triplets, one of them passed away, and then they adopted the black kid. Okay. So they've got 3 kids, same age. A boy, a girl, and a black kid. It's also a boy. Okay. Miguel is the dad's best friend. He's his best friend. That's who it is. And Miguel married a woman who ended up being the wife's best friend. They were best friends for a while until Miguel and his wife got divorced and she moved away. The mom, Miguel's wife, moved away with their kids and like got remarried and everything. So Miguel was just, he basically ends up as this character who's just kind of always there with, and he doesn't have, his wife and kids anymore, and they're estranged, and he is the full support, full on support character, but he does have a story. And the thing is, his story actually goes to why he is the way he is. So it was so upsetting that, we have to wait 6 seasons to get more background. Like, what you do know is that he is Puerto Rican, and he lets them make Ricky Ricardo jokes on him, even though everybody knows that Desi Arnaz was Cuban. Like that
Right.
kind of stuff. So he goes through things, and he has conversations with the main character and main characters and interacts with them and everything. But we never get full on information, but we get full on information on everybody else. We get flashbacks. I mean, the show is full of flashbacks. Every episode is a flashback. You never know what time zone you're in, and you never know what you never know what era you're in. And this man has literally been supportive of his best friend who was an alcoholic. Then when the father dies, and the guy dies, he is best friend. I mean, he takes care of the wife and her kids. Like, he's always there. He is so there all the time. And then, he leaves because, he realizes he's falling in love with his dead best friend's wife and he dips. And then, 10 years later, they find each other on Facebook because, old people, they learn how to use Facebook and then they start finding all their friends. And
Oh
boom,
man.
they realized that they had feelings for each other and then they got married. They ended up getting married. So yeah, the best friend of the dead guy marries his wife. That happened. Okay. That's the story. That's what we're getting. That's
Oh,
the story
that
of
was
the
the
show.
flashback.
I mean, it could have been. The point is that's the story. That's just what happened. This is what happened. This is their life now. So, the kids who are grown never really got comfortable with him marrying their mom. It was just always weird for them.
Right.
It's
Well, I can
everything.
imagine.
Yeah, it's just always weird. But that's the story. But Miguel is still a living, breathing person with a story, with a background. And it's just like I'm so surprised that, and I'm not even surprised. Like they spend so much time going in on Beth and Randall, which I've mentioned on our cast before, like how interesting Sterling Brown's character really is, and the whole family. Like they bring it. I could live on Beth and Randall all day and their family. So I don't care about anybody else. And it's not just it's funny because I may have mentioned this before. It's funny because like the show is good and the characters are good, but the Beth and Randall story, the black people make the show more interesting.
I
It really,
mean,
I mean, that's just and I'm saying that with all like truth and feeling because everybody on this show, every character is interesting. Every character has great story and depth, but there's so much flavor in what goes on in Beth and Randall's home. And Beth she's such an amazing supported role. Like because she's so sassy. And she's just like, when this family that she married into goes through its drama, she literally puts her hand on her hip, grabs some wine, and walks out of the room. And she's like, "That's not my people." Like she says stuff like, "I'm not dealing with your family drama. Like I'm not doing it. Who wants wine?" And anyway, but so I like I said before, I love their dynamic, but I've always just felt like this is so unfair. Like, why aren't we getting Miguel's story? And then finally we get Miguel's story like a week ago
do
in
you
the
think it's
last
one of those
season.
things where they had to build up, like, for everyone to care about him? Like,
No,
he's,
no,
oh,
not at
well,
all.
never mind.
Nope, not at all. You care about him from jump, from when he's introduced. It's
Ah, I
it's
see.
it's so easy to care about him because he is the main character's best friend. Like, it's so easy to care about him. You automatically are gonna have love for him because he's so supportive of his best friend. He is the perfect best friend because the father, the main character father is drinking and gets in a fight with his wife and gets, like, kicked out of the house, he goes to Miguel's.
Yeah.
And so there you always care from him from jump. It's not this thing where you need to build and he's used as a comic relief a lot as well because Kevin, the brother, played by Justin Hartley, is mean to him in certain way. Like he says stuff like, their father named Jack always wore the pilgrim hat at their Thanksgiving. And Miguel's like, hey, I want to wear the pilgrim hat. And then Kevin's like, no. He's like, no, you can't wear the pilgrim hat. You're not our dad. Like these are grown people. They're 36 years old, and he's telling this man, no, you can't wear the pilgrim hat. Like that's so petty. Like you care about him from jump because it's first of all it's funny, and then you realize how good of a friend he is. Like if it wasn't for Miguel, Jack would have never married Rebecca. Like he's the one who got Jack the coat so that he could go to the golf course with Rebecca's father. So he's you do feel for him very, very early.
Right.
It's just that it seemed as though the writers never put the time to give him a full on like full on dedication of an episode, because it's just like the show, like, when you create a show with so many characters, you have vectors going in all directions.
Right.
And I feel like they just kept saying, "We don't have time, we don't have time, like, we can't put this in here, it never fits." And so they wait until the final season, and I'm just like, "Y'all did Miguel so dirty. You did Miguel so
Hey,
dirty."
man, it apes the
Justice for
show
Miguel.
apparently.
Hmm?
It apparently apes the show the way like they're doing it in terms of saving him for the last season.
Mhm.
Is seemingly how it would be done if like the show is actually real life because the way people are treating him anyways. So it's
I
like, oh,
know.
they it's almost a like a meta thing there.
It's
Like
a
they
meta
did him
thing.
dirty on purpose.
Oh, you're totally right. It's a total meta thing. It's like, no, we're gonna keep doing Miguel dirty because that's that's how it is. That's just how it is. I mean, he's treated so dirty.
Oh
You
my
literally
gosh.
just have to watch the show, and you'll be like, man, poor Miguel. Like, it's just so messed up. It's so messed up. And there's just this one part that just happens recently where, they're getting old. The parents are old now, and Miguel's old, Rebecca's old. And, Miguel's hand is shaking, looking like he's getting Parkinson's, and Randall wants to go, your hand is shaking. And Miguel gets pissed off because he's like, Randall, we're old. We're old, okay? We have health issues. He's
Right.
like, I just wanted to enjoy the day with you. You're the only person in this family that loves wine the same way I do. Why can't we just have a quiet day with each other and enjoy the wine? You want to talk about my health issues? He's basically, nigga, we old.
He
That's
sounds
what-
like freaking I mean not exactly, but he sounds like Sam Lloyd character Ted Buckland off of Scrubs, and how like the whole season, like all the seasons he's basically treated extremely poor by
Oh,
everyone
so
around him, mainly his boss Bob Kelso. But then
uh-huh.
in the latter seasons, he gets a girlfriend, he gets married, he gets so it's like they kind of like slowly usher in. I don't know if they was like guilt, but they slowly like we've been treating this character horrible for however long. Let's go ahead and give him some some good stuff. Let's help him out here and give him like a little bit more agency on the show. And that's what it reminds me of, at least just hearing it.
It's
Uh,
it's yeah, that's a decent comparison, like, yeah, but nah, for real, justice for Miguel. Justice for Miguel, because that's my man, that's my dog. He kept it real the whole time. Well, yeah, I mean, man, he was a good friend. He was a good dude, a good dude. Poor Miguel.
that's what's up.
Anyway, yeah,
I
that's it.
hearing this stuff like coming to an end, I typically, and I don't know why, but like that's the time where I want to like go watch stuff like
You should.
more so.
Mm.
I'm not gonna watch this because of so many people telling me that it's mad depressing. But
It's
uh the
I'm gonna save this show for you. Like, no, the reason it's very hard. Like, obviously, we both suffer from our, we have anxiety and everything. I've got
right,
bipolar depression and crap and all that nonsense. So sometimes it really is hard to, you know, intentionally watch something that is this emotionally heavy. But
yeah,
at the same time, I mean, I love a good drama. Like, I love stuff that's well written, because you
right.
know how ABC tried to copy this show and make their own show, A Million Little Things, which should be burnt and killed and buried and then dug up, burnt and killed and buried again. Like, that show is complete trash, horrible writing, the acting is mediocre at best, and the storyline makes no sense. And it's
Do
just
not pull your punches. Tell them how you feel.
I will tell him how I feel. I'll tell everybody. I meet the director tomorrow and tell him, "Your show sucks."
Oh
Like,
gosh.
I would just be so mean, because it's the truth. It's like, and you know what?
uh,
But I can't blame them, because it's the network. The network knew that there's a certain type of people who like to watch soap opera dramas at night, and it works for the
oh yeah,
network
that's big
model.
money.
Yeah, it's big money, and so that model of the of show, it keeps people watching, because every episode something ridiculously dramatic happens, and it's like, how can you have this much trauma in one group of people? It almost makes no sense. Like, at least with This Is Us, everything that happens is almost fathomable. Like,
Okay.
it's realistic, like, the things that happen. Like, I told you about the first season, I still feel is, like, just such a good season because it's so powerful. Like, you they adopt this baby, and then you find out that the mother knew who the father was. I mean, she didn't know him before they adopt the baby, but, like, she ended up meeting him, like, twice at least, and never told her son that she knew who his father was and that he actually wanted to know his son. Like,
Oh
it's
yeah, that's
so
explosive right there.
it's extremely close, and you learn this, like, in this is episode 1. And
Oh,
so it's very, very powerful. So yes, it is emotionally taxing because, like, when you watch these scenes, you're just like, "Oh my god," because this is real, it's very realistic. Like, if you were a parent that was adopting a kid and you found out that the real parent, um, was a drug addict and you wanted to do everything you could to keep this child, like, it really puts you in the mindset of each character, and I think they do a good job of, like, writing each character, and every actor plays their character exactly how that you would think that they would act. And
hmm,
so I appreciate that, and I think that's why the show is so successful, and why Sterling keeps winning Emmys for his performances, you know what I mean?
right.
Like, it's so I would encourage anyone to watch it just because I think that the stories are good and the characters are amazing and well acted. Um, but it it can be emotional, like in the first season is hard because there are, like I told you before, multiple things that happen that you're just gonna cry. You're gonna cry because it's like, damn.
So
And
yeah,
it's
so
all realistic.
you don't want to binge this. Just no binging.
I
Couple episodes and then
I'm not even joking. You have to. You end up binging it anyway because you're like, "Ah," and then you're like, "Wait, I need to know what happens next."
see, nope, I am good. I
No,
am
yeah,
good.
I did a couple episodes at a time before when I was watching it first. I was like, and I called my friend. I did, and I was like, "Do you watch the show?" She goes, "Hell no." She has depression, and she's like, "Hell no." She's like, "I already
That's
know." She goes, "I know it's a good show, but I can't."
this how I feel about what is that show? Crap. On HBO with Zendaya. Uh
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and like
Mhm, yeah.
everyone's like, it's great, but it's just it hits
Oh,
you and
yeah.
it's like, and um I'm like, no. No, no, no. I am good. I already watch a bunch of questionable things. I am okay
Yeah.
with not being in the know on every single drama. Like that is quite all right for me. One show I will be binging though when it comes out is Volume 3 of Love, Death, and Robots. It's actually one of our
Yay.
topics for tonight. The new trailer dropped. I want to say a few days ago.
Mhm.
And if you don't know, Love, Death, and Robots is basically a animated series that Netflix throws up every so often, it seems. And they have shorts, like short little stories. And it's done by different animators, different writers, and everything. And the theme is on love, death, and robots along those
Mhm.
lines. So, yeah, just that in and of itself sounds great. Even if
Yeah.
you if you've never seen it, like the idea, the things that you could kind of come up with, I guess the more creative of us can kind of come up
Mhm.
with is really cool. But then they actually do it. When you see the show, you're like, this was a really interesting short. Like this is really cool, and then you're off to the next one. And so we talked about season 2 or volume 2 uh not too long ago actually when we talked about Castlevania and
Mhm,
how much
mhm.
we enjoyed it, the different shorts and the different art styles even and how they told stories. And this one, just looking at the trailer, looks like it's going to be great. There was one part of the trailer that I'm really interested in being a horror fan, where they were talking about like a zombie apocalypse, but it's shot from like almost like far away. It looks like ants kinda, and it's like stop motion animated,
Cool.
and it's so everything is from like this aerial view, and it kind of looks like a game in certain points, like an RTS game. Like you're looking at these people, and there's like they're little tiny, and they're fighting zombies, and stuff is blowing up, and it's like to them, it's like super impactful, obviously, because it's their lives. But while you're
Mhm.
watching, you're like, this is amazing. How did you even animate this? Like this is there's
Yeah.
just so many really cool, quirky things about the shorts that they do. I'm curious to know if it's going to be new writers this time, new animators this time, because I know
Mhm.
I want to say with Volume Two, some animators came back, like to do another one. So I want to know if their new episodes. But this one's going to be um, no, the second one was shorter. They it only had 8 episodes, I believe. The first one had 18 episodes, and I think this one is going to be, I think, in the middle with how many? Let me see. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Okay, roughly in the middle. It's not in the
Okay.
middle, but it's close. It's basically season two, um, in terms of episodes. But they all looked cool. From what was shown in the trailer, they all looked great, and I'm looking forward to it. It actually drops on Netflix on May 2nd, I
Mhm.
believe. Not second. Sorry, we're past May 2nd. May 20th
Are
is what I
we?
wanted to
I
say.
wouldn't know.
But I'm looking at a bunch of numbers, and so the second just popped in my head. But no, it's actually coming out on the 20th, and it looks really good. There's another short that I peeped where robots have taken over, I guess like a little island, and the people that used to live there are all dead, and so the
Hmm.
robots are kind of just doing what they were programmed to do. And there's a bunch of skeletons around, and they play with the skeletons. It's like I don't know what's going on
At
initially
all.
because
But you
it's a
like it.
trailer, but yeah, it's like what is I need to know what's happening. I need to know what's happening. The short that I was talking about with the zombies called Night of the Many Dead, and that's just me written all over it. I really want to see this because I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
hilarious. It looks amazing, and I really would like, outside of just the show, I really would like for them to showcase more of their work. Not so much in another Love, Death, and Robots, but like if this animator comes, and granted these obviously the studios are known, right? They've been doing animation for some time to be added to
Mhm.
this. But it would be dope if Netflix was like, hey, if you like this animation from this particular studio, maybe you would like these things, and like actually have a premiere type of thing where they actually pull their work from before, maybe some other places, get the licenses or whatever, and so you can
Uh-huh.
see, like, I would like to see more of this person's artwork, not person, but studio's artwork. Their
Mhm.
animation style is really, really cool. I would like Netflix to do that as well. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but they do it every so often where they would curate something like, for Black History Month, they would do like Black creators and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
would be really cool to have an animated curation like that as well, based on these groups of people. Looks
Mhm.
really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, even though I haven't finished watching the first one.
The first one's longer, and some of them are hit and miss, but it was overall good enough. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like overall, like okay, I like that. I'm looking for it. And then like Volume Two is just great. Like I didn't have any outside of it being too short, which is funny
Yeah.
because the other one was too long. Yeah, whatever. Some of the shorts I think end, and this is what they're meant to do, right? They're meant to end in a way that kind of leave you wanting more
Mhm.
because that's the call of like a good story, or the call of like uh at least when it comes to television, like giving the audience what they want but not everything, so they come back.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, what will be really cool is to have actual progression in the sense that one of these shorts gets a sequel. I would like that
I
because
would like that a lot.
there was a couple I remember watching, like for instance the in Volume Two where there was a whole civilization inside a freezer that like went through time. Like every time they closed the freezer and opened it, it like jumped like millions of years or whatever. Like that was really freaking cool, and like they had this whole like interplanetary war inside this dude's freezer, because the two factions started warring or whatever. And so like I would like to see more of that, or at the very least more from that particular studio, because
Yeah,
it's
it
like you
would
don't see that anywhere else.
I could see that, like, what if the refrigerator, the freezer got unplugged, and so they went through, like, a global warming, and they were
Right.
fighting to survive?
That'd be mad interesting. And these people just like these, you know, do they even notice that the giants are there watching them in the freezer? Like, do they? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot. The fact that they were so technologically advanced, more so than the people living outside of the freezer, but they didn't seem to comprehend. Like, they didn't know that they were there. Like, this it's a weird thing that happens. And I think another thing that's in kind of like along those lines of why this show is so great is that it's very experimental.
Uh-huh.
Like Netflix even experimented with the order of episodes. Some people got the order in different, like the episodes in different orders in their,
Mm.
when they were watching it, and to kind of see what resonated with people. If they were to continue the whole thing, were they put off by a certain episode, and so even that, how the episodes are delivered is experimental. Like
Yeah.
that's really cool. Like you don't really get that a whole lot. I mean, there are anthologies of like horror and stuff like that in a short base, but it's less experimental because the idea is like we're trying to scare people
Mm.
as much as possible. I remember watching like VHS or the ABCs of horror, and like yeah, they'll have like a theme, but for the most part, it's like we're just trying to scare you. We're going to be a little experimental, but not a whole lot because if it's a little too heady, you're not going to get it. Whereas the animation here is like whatever works. As long as there's left love, death, and robots, as long as it
Right.
works, doesn't freaking matter, you know. So and because of that, we're able to get some really cool shorts, like some really cool shorts. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to it. If they, I don't know if it's available outside of Netflix, but if it was, I would definitely buy it, like the series as a whole.
Yeah. 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 Factual. It's really good. I enjoyed that one, so I'm excited for that.
The next thing we wanted to talk about was the Avatar sequels, specifically
Ta-ta.
Avatar: The Way of Water. Now I get it. I get it. There's been a lot of talk about these movies being horrible, based off the strength of the first one, how no one really liked the first one, even though it
They
made the most money
lie.
ever.
They
Like
lie.
a lot of people, it's in now. It's in to be like screw this movie. And don't get me wrong, it's very much Fern Gully. It's very much like even though
It's
it came
Dances
out,
with Wolves. It's Fern
but
Gully.
less racist, right? Like it's not, you know what I mean? Like it's not, it's it was written in the 90s and came out in the 2000s. However, what it did do was provide a really cool experience with the 3D glasses and everything, and
Mhm.
propelled itself, at least for me, to one of my favorite films. Not because of story though, mainly because it transported me to another place. I felt like I was inserted into this world where these things could happen. The
Mhm.
3D was so good, where like I'm looking around the theater, I'm like, is stuff floating by me? Like, what is going on? Like, it looked really cool, and there's only been a few films that really did that for me. I mean, Lord of the Rings, I think probably another one, and that's just because of all the other reasons, like good story,
Mhm.
well acting, the props and everything were practical. The practical effects and everything looked great,
Yeah, the movie was beautiful.
amazing. You know what I'm saying? So like when I
Yeah.
first saw it in theater, I was like, oh, I'm here. Whereas a lot of films
Mhm.
I watch, like even though they're fantastical or whatever the case may be, I don't really feel like I'm there. I feel like I'm watching a film.
Mhm.
Whereas with Avatar, because of the 3D-ness of it, I felt like I was there, which is a
Yeah,
really cool experience.
it
And
was.
so I'm looking forward to Avatar: The Way of Water. The teaser didn't show a whole lot outside of you know a potential war
Water.
and a lot of water.
A
Yeah,
lot of
a lot of
water.
water. But and that was essentially it. I did find out that a lot of characters are coming back. Some people who uh, were supposedly dead in the first film are actually coming
Serpent's
back.
gonna come back. She did.
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver is back, and
I mean, you can't make
so
movies
is
without Sigourney Weaver. She's one of my favorite people.
yeah. Stephen Lang, who plays the bad guy or the main antagonist, is back. Even though I want to say he got stabbed and eaten or something. I know he died,
Yeah,
but
I thought
essentially
he
he's
got
back.
stabbed, with the thing, with the machine thing,
Right. Now, I don't know
like,
if it's going to
then
be like flashbacks because you know how
okay.
they bring people back that way, like, oh, this is a flashback of when they were alive type of thing.
Yeah.
But they are returning. and you know most of the not most, like most of the main characters are coming back. And one thing I didn't realize though was that there's going to be four sequels. I thought it was just going to be like a trilogy, so like this one and then one more. But
Mhm.
no, there's a whole four of them coming, and apparently they are the most expensive films ever, like just collectively.
Like,
Um,
ever to be made ever.
like the budget is over 1 billion, and wow,
I mean, they
that's
need that money. They have to make everything look mad realistic. Before you know it, we're not gonna be watching movies, we're actually gonna be in them, just kinda like what you were experiencing with the 3D. Like, instead of us watching movies, we're going to be in them. The movies are now going to be AR. They're going to be augmented reality, and we're going to be interacting with the movies. We're not even going to get paid. Do you understand? Like capitalism, we're going to pay them to go to the movies that we're acting in.
that's wild. I don't
It's
ever want to do that, but that's wild.
it's gonna be the I'm just saying these are the crazy things that on in my brain injured head. And I'm pretty sure that it's gonna happen this way. And we're gonna be like in the Avatar 3, we're gonna be walking through Pandora. We will.
I look. I'm gonna need some vacation time. Can't just be going to different planets like that.
It's
If you're
gonna
not
be
gonna
an
pay me,
experience.
at the very least, yeah,
No,
I need vacation anyways.
people are gonna pay them because they're like, "Oh my god, I wanna be part of the Avatar experience." And then, like, you're gonna be in the movie theater, and then like your whole surrounding changes, everything changes, and it's like, oh my god. And then you're like in Pandora, and you're like interacting with the Naturi or whatever they're called, and it's just gonna be real. I mean, hopefully we don't get chased by those birdie dragony things, but I'm just pretty sure that that's what it's gonna end up being. And, like, the actors who are actually in the movie outside of us, the non-paid actors in the movie, they're gonna be, like, non-playable characters. We can interact with them and stuff, and
That's crazy.
it's gonna be, like, filmed, and then so other people will be able to see what we did when we were just extras. To see our experience. Just saying. I think that this is the future of movies.
Man, I look, Cameron is something else. I mean, he's building the technology to do the things that he wants to do.
Yeah.
I'm glad that someone is. I mean, I get it. He has two of the top, in terms of box office, two of the top
Mhm.
films that have made, in terms of the amount of money that they've made, like ever.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So I get it. It's like we're gonna, bank on this being a success, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna make a decent amount of money regardless. But
Yeah.
shooting all the movies back to back, and yeah, I just it's a wild gambit, or like risk to do this,
Mhm.
because when did the first Avatar come out? It was like,
In '09, I think?
was it on?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I mean, again,
Jeez.
it was so powerful for that, like, time because, like, it just was so beautiful, like, but I remember being in the theater and having to take off my glasses, like, my eyes were actually starting to hurt. I got a headache while I was watching that movie. And so,
Hmm.
unfortunately, I mean, like, I've seen the full movie and everything. I watched it again on TV at home, but I realized, and I remember telling my friend, I said, "This is the last 3D movie I'm ever going to see." I said, "It's the first and the last. I'm never doing this again. Like, I can't, like, no." I was like,
To
"This is
be
literally."
honest,
Yeah. Mhm.
no, I was gonna say, to be honest, this was Avatar was the movie to quit. Like
Yeah.
the other, I saw 3D movies after the Avatar, and none of them lived up to it.
Yeah, and I knew
Um,
that. I knew that was gonna be the case too. And I talked to a friend about that at work, and it was like, "Wait, so the 2 times, it happened 2 times, okay? Remember Inception? I saw
yes,
Inception in IMAX. Remember when IMAX came out and IMAX was like, "Ah, yeah, IMAX, yeah." And then it's
yeah,
like, I remember talking to a coworker, and they're like, "So you went and saw Inception in IMAX. You do know that you can never see another movie again, right?" They're like, You're
yes.
never gonna be able to enjoy another movie in the theater. Like, you just can't do it." And you saw the best movie, like the best visual, and then you saw it in IMAX. I was like, okay. And so then I go see Avatar in IMAX 3D, and then I go
Ooh,
back and I talk to my coworker, and they're like, "Yeah, you can't see another movie." I was just like,
yeah, you just
"Yeah, we're
it was
done."
I felt it was just trash. Like even if the movie was good, like using the 3D glass, I was like, this is just trash.
Yeah.
This is not Avatar. This is not
No.
Avatar
No.
because they did a really the one thing I expected because like you expect a lot of times with the 3D in a theater is things coming at you.
Mhm.
Whereas the Avatar actually had real depth. There was things that was
Mhm.
going back into the screen, which I had
Mhm.
never seen before. I've seen it like maybe like 3D books or those puzzle books that you have to like cross your eyes to like be able to see the
Yeah.
pattern, stuff like
Mhm.
that. But not in a film where things are coming out and going, maybe I think there was like a couple of Disney rides that had it, but for the most part, I've never seen that in film.
Mhm.
And the Avatar did a really good job of that. And so
Yeah.
I'm low key hoping that that's the case and not at the same time because I already wear glasses when I go to the theater anyway. So now having
Mhm.
that plus 3D is not going to work. And if all the magic is just in the 3D, then it's not going to, you know what I mean? Like it worked the first time. I'm not sure it's going to work four more freaking times. So you got to have some type of new technology that would make it, as grand as the first showing.
That's why I
And
said it's gonna be AR. It's gonna be augmented reality. Like, what else can you ask for? You're gonna be in the movie. It's gonna be like Pokemon Go. You're gonna sit down in your chair, and the movie is literally gonna start happening in front of you. You're going
that
to
is,
literally
yeah.
see everything. You are gonna feel like you can touch it. You're literally going to put your hands out, and then it's gonna be sparkles on your hands and stuff. Like, it that's it. That's all I can say. Because what else is there? What other possibility is there unless they just make you go sit in the theater and then you all put on Oculus goggles?
Yeah, that's. Hey, look, I don't know if it's comfortable and I can see, then I'm down with it, and it doesn't cost too much because those 3D, that's how they get you. Like, oh, you need glasses, you got to pay more for this. Nah, I'm good. I'm
I'm
good.
good. I
It's already
just
expensive.
I just created an idea in my head. So, do you
Yeah,
remember back in the day when virtual reality was supposed to be cool, like back in the 90s or something? And if you
right.
went to like one of those places, like, I don't know, Kid Zone or some, like they had one in my
Yeah,
mall, and they had the two virtual reality stations. So, like they buckled you in and you put on the goggles so, so you
right.
wouldn't fall and like do stupid stuff. So, this is what I think what can happen. Like this is how we're going to make our millions, Kenny. We're going
Word.
to open a theater where we have all those VR stations like that so that, people can be in them and be safe and not fall out of them and stuff. And
Right.
they're all gonna have the Oculus is on, so they're gonna be watching the movies, everybody's gonna be interacting with the movie, but you're watching the movie by yourself. Kinda like those silent have you ever seen those, like, silent clubs? They're called, like, silent
Right.
clubs or something. Yeah, because everybody's wearing
Yeah.
headphones and they're listening to different music.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be like that, but they're all wearing goggles, so they're all experiencing the movie, and since it's a 3D experience, they're gonna be moving around, stuff is gonna be coming out, like, they're gonna feel like they're swimming in the water, and that's what we're charging people for. That's it. We're charging people for that experience. So that's the new movie. Movies are going to evolve from just sitting in your chair and watching to actually you being in the movie like a VR experience. That's it. That's how we're gonna make our millions. You
And
should
see, the
burn this
only
cast so nobody hears it.
the only thing I think with that would be, at least for me, is missing stuff. Like if I'm turned to the left and then something really
Mhm.
cool happened and I turn back and I miss it, I'm like, that, can you rewind that? Because I didn't see the thing with the guy and the octopus over here. I didn't see, can you just go back for a second?
It's the
I'm missing
same as
stuff.
people getting up and going to the bathroom. You just gotta come back and watch the movie again. Pay me
I
another
don't do
50
that
bones.
ish. I did not do that. No,
I
you better use the
don't.
bathroom before you.
I don't, you don't, but other people do, and then they go
That's true.
back to the theater and they pay more money and they watch it again.
Oh
This is
no,
brilliant. This
I
is
gotta
brilliant.
We gotta rent it. I can't do that. Nope. I cannot do that.
I can't. I don't know when I'll ever go back to a movie theater because I don't know when I can because I can't hear things right. But I think that this is brilliant because everybody will
That's
be having a virtual reality experience with other people around. They're going to hear them. And if they miss anything, they will want to do it again. And they will literally be giving the money. They'll be like, take my money. Take my money. I want to swing with Spider Man. And they will literally be in Spider Man swinging. They will literally be in it. They will be
there's gonna be
in
so
it.
many like sick customers just throwing up everywhere.
I'd
I
be like,
you know
they gotta pay extra for that.
barf bags are extra. No, I think that they're kind of already doing that. I know like AMC, at least before the pandemic, was already
Mhm,
setting up stations where you could play virtual reality games that were tied to the films that you're going to see. I went
mhm,
to before they opened to everyone, I went and actually spoke with, excuse me, some representatives over there about what they were doing, and they had some really cool experiences. Some for some of the movies that were coming out, and some are there were more kind of like a ride esque, if you will, like like a Disney ride where you would sit down
mhm,
and your chair would vibrate or move or whatever. You have the goggles on, so it
mhm,
was already kind of moving in that area where because what they expected was you would go and you would pay for like one ticket that
mhm.
included this experience prior to you going to see your film, and
Uh-huh.
getting your stuff. So kind of like a where people would go and get like popcorn and stuff. Like, oh, you can actually have this little fun ride thingy that's tied into the movie. Maybe you get a little bit more lore, whatever the case may be, and then you'll go watch your movie. And
Mhm,
so it was already kind of moving in that direction.
mhm,
Um, but yeah, I would need to be able to like control like everything. I need it to be directly in front of me, and so
mhm,
that if I do turn left or right, there's like an edge of the screen where I can't miss anything. Because yeah, that's too much money to miss the cool action scene.
mhm.
Nope, no, no, not at all.
What if see, this is the thing, so the movie is shot, right, with this in mind. The way the movie is shot is why they're spending so much extra money. The way the movie is shot is because the movie is going to be like this, so they know that the end user is going to be experiencing the film in this manner, right?
Right.
So like, the stations, the VR stations are like you're suspended, and then maybe, like, the VR station has, um, like, control like, it's computer program, right? So they know
Yeah.
when certain things are happening in the movie, like, they know the film. So the computer is is, like, programmed at minute, 29 when the camera is supposed to go left that it actually tilts you. So you go that
Oh
way too.
gosh.
You know what I mean? Like, fully I'm telling you, my brain doesn't work majority of the time, but this one, like, the headache that I have right now is so strong because the wheels are turning because 'cause I'm coming up with ideas. Proud of
You're gonna
myself,
need a
man.
lot of Q&A for this. I'm
Oh,
telling you.
totes. Oh,
You pull
totes.
someone's head, like you whiplash them real good. They're already in the sea somewhere.
Okay,
you
they
you
signed a paper. They signed
Hey,
all the
facts.
waivers.
That's facts. Hey, you give yourself whiplash. That is on you.
On
That is
you, dude.
directly on you.
On you. You gotta be
Um,
physically fit for this
right.
experience.
The last thing we wanted to talk about was, in lieu of, the we were talking about racism earlier, was how people are reacting to the recent Percy Jackson casting. There's a Percy Jackson show coming to Disney Plus,
Mhm.
and one of the cast members has been getting being bullied and a lot of racist statements and I believe they got her Instagram taken down or banned, like temporarily
TikTok.
banned.
I think it's her
Oh,
TikTok.
TikTok. It was TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
Which is so
yeah, and
easy,
so
though, if you are not, like if you are Black, your TikTok gets banned so fast.
right,
Like,
which is whack because we
yeah.
literally make TikTok run. If it wasn't for our dances, there would be no TikTok. Just
Seriously.
throwing that out there.
Mhm.
But yeah, I believe her name is it Leah Jeffries?
Yeah, I
Or
think so.
Leah, I believe it's Leah. Leah Jeffries. She is going to be Annabeth Chase in the series, and apparently she was up for the role against thousands of other people, and she was the best. Period. If you didn't know, she's black, and people are upset about it because apparently in the book she's described as white. Here's
Because
the
she's
thing,
playing
though.
Athena. Who cares?
Here's She's playing Athena's daughter. Here's the thing, though. The author of the novel series, Percy Jackson and the
Mhm,
Olympians, actually came to her defense, which is dope. I want to just pivot there for a second. You don't really see this a whole lot. Disney
mhm.
is notorious for just leaving their actors out to dry when they
Yeah,
experience some type of racism or hate online. They just like mum's the word, and even worse with Star Wars, they actually pivot away from these actors and actresses because they don't want any more heat. Like, which didn't help them in the box office. Just letting you guys know.
yeah,
But yeah, like they typically don't say anything. But the author, who's actually involved with the Disney Plus show, Rick Rodan, I believe his name is, was saying that basically this is silly. Like it's a shame that we have to go through this, every time. He's like, we went through a bunch of casting, and she embodied the character. She is the character that we're looking for, the actress that we're looking for because of how well she did. And he was like, they took over a year to go through this process, and it was very tiring. And then Jeffries made it. Like that's it. He went on to say that if you're judging her appropriateness for this role solely and exclusively on how she looks. And they're like, she's a black girl playing someone who was described in a book as white. He was like, friends, that is racism. He was like, that's
yeah.
bullying. And he was also like, the core message of the Percy Jackson, series was that the differences is strength. That there's power in polarity. That the things that distinguish us from one another are often our marks of individual greatness, et cetera,
Mhm,
et cetera. He's basically like, if you're still upset with this, then you didn't get anything from the books. You didn't learn
mhm.
anything, and yeah, you're racist. And
And you're right.
so
Mhm.
it was really dope that he spoke up about it,
Yeah,
and him being the author and being, I want to say, not just helping with putting things together for the series, but I want to say he's a showrunner as well. So going to be writing for the actual show. Who else can you like? This is the authentic thing. Like, who else can you argue to determine who should play a character
right.
if not the author of the freaking book? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And so what happens when all these things happen all the time is that people would go, white people mainly would go, you know what, why didn't you pick the best person? Why did you try to be diverse? Just pick the best person. If the black person happens to be the best, then pick them. And this happened. This literally happened.
Really
She's the
happened.
best.
She's the
She's the
best.
best, right? And so he makes this statement, and then I actually tweeted this, and I scratched out like the names and everything, but where a person was like, "This is whack," and then someone was like, the author of the book is saying that he picked her because she's a great actress, and then someone chimed in and was like, "I bet Disney is making him do this, and he has to back Disney, and so Disney's make forcing him to be diverse. Like Disney is literally twisting his arm to get her to be this, in this role." And it's like, wow, like
Like, if
even
Disney
when,
that's so stupid because if Disney really, really was like, I mean, people are dumb, they say stupid things, but think
right,
about it. Disney was really trying to pull for somebody, that they really wanted to, like, make sure that this was gonna be super diverse, they would have made Percy black. I mean, and
yeah,
that's a hard pill to swallow, like, your main c what? Main character? Black?
exactly.
I have to identify with a black male? Like, no, that's not me. Like, if they were really trying to make a statement, that's what they would have done, and that so, no, you're being stupid.
Right. And like but that's the thing, it's the assumption. How can
Yeah,
it be pick the best person if we're never able to be the best person?
right.
How does that work? Like it just, cuz think about it. In your mind, there's no room for us being good at whatever it is we're supposed to be doing.
Mm.
Unless it's sports. You're okay with sports, but if it comes to acting or, literally anything else on the
Anything.
freaking planet, it's like, "Oh no, this was, they're woke." They had to be. I hate that term, by the way.
I know we hate it, and we none of us use it. Like,
No,
nobody none of the people who originated the word are using it because now
we
it's
don't.
now it's a conservative term to attack anybody who's liberal or anybody who's yeah, it's just so ridiculous. It's so disgustingly ridiculous. It makes me so mad. I'm just like, wow, everything has to be the woke mob. Like just because a show that has black and white people in it who are in the same family is now talking about racism. Oh, the woke liberals got to them and are making them do an episode about George Floyd. That's not what it is. Like, shut up.
Right. It's
Just
and it's so hard for that to even be a thing,
I know.
considering that they don't want us there to begin with. Like, do you
Yeah.
know how hard it is to get these people, to get our people into the roles that we deserve? You know how hard it
Mhm.
is? And so when we
Yeah.
finally get it, this is all we get. And it happens in in front and behind the camera. I remember I
Mhm.
wrote a
Yeah.
review for a film that was on Netflix, predominantly black cast.
Mhm.
And immediately, I don't even think the person read my review. He saw the score and was like, Netflix paid him, either Netflix paid him to do this or he's writing this because he's black. And I'm like, first of all,
Wow.
what? Where's my check, Netflix? If that's the case, where is my
Right.
check? I've written so many reviews about your shows and films. I need the biggest check if that's the case. No,
Yeah.
Netflix didn't pay me for a good review. I just happen to like the film.
Mhm.
That's it. That's all it is. And trust me, there's a ton of blacks, media that I do not like, and I've
Right.
I've been very vocal about that. But no, that's not the
Tyler
case.
Perry.
I mean, look, like, yeah, we're not even gonna go there. We're
We're not
just
going
not
there.
gonna go there.
Not
But
going
yeah,
there.
so I just find it funny and also infuriating at the same time that
Mhm.
the author can't convince you that this is what he wanted to do. It just has to be that someone is has taken his mind. He's being bullied into it. He's being forced. You just can't fathom that we're good enough. That's what it boils down to. Because if it was a white guy playing any type of role, you'd be like, no, he was the best actor, obviously. He was the
Mhm.
best. It's like, no, that's not how life works. I mean, it's yeah, it's super not how life works, considering most of the quick hires in this regard are mediocre. It's like, oh, you knew someone who knew someone or you related to someone.
Right.
When it comes down to talent, no, that's not the case
Yeah.
at all.
I mean, people just wanted to do a racism. They just some people did they just woke up and "I'm gonna do a racism sometime." Like, this is, "Oh, I woke up, it's 6, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna do a racism, and I'm gonna, go to the store and pick up groceries for the kids." But
Yep.
gotta make sure you do that racism before you go to the store and pick up food for kids.
And half of you mofos are don't even know who Percy Jackson is. You haven't
No,
read the books. You're
no,
not the target audience.
no,
You aren't going to be watching the show. You
no,
have nothing to better to do with your life than be upset with
nothing.
something you don't even care about. You legit don't care.
All they
You don't.
wanna do is patrol who's playing who, like, oh, I
If
mean,
you weren't big on Percy, if you weren't big on Percy, like in your 20s, in your teens, if you weren't like a huge, like you just love everything, the gods, the Olympians, if you just love
mhm.
everything, if you're not one of those people, you are not, if you're over 30, you are not checking for Percy. Stop it. Real
Right,
talk. You're not. They haven't even showed a trailer yet. They haven't showed a
right.
trailer yet. So for you to be this upset, that's like me being upset with like the next, I don't know, version of He-Man. Like, cool. I could feel a way because I grew up with He-Man and all this other stuff, but ultimately it's not for me. It's for kids who will be growing up with He-Man nowadays. It's not for
Yeah.
me. You know what I'm saying? Like they weren't like, yo, Kenny, or not even Kenny, like, hey, we got this He-Man coming out, but it should only like work with like 38 and 40-year-olds. Like, would that work?
It's just
No,
gonna be
because they ain't
really
gonna go
weird.
buy no toys. They're
No,
not buying He-Man toys.
they're not.
Like, it's gonna be the kids. It's not for you. So
No.
why are you even upset? Or like the hundreds of people who are, I mean, not hundreds, the thousands of people who like wanted to burn down their TVs when they found out that the Little Mermaid was gonna be played by like a black person.
Halle Bailey, they were like, "What?" And it's
And I
like,
was like, dude, really? You don't care. Like,
yeah,
you legit never thought about the Little Mermaid before. Heck,
it
I didn't even care who was cast. I just wanted her to be smart enough so she doesn't like ruin her entire kingdom over a dude she meets like 10 minutes ago. That's what,
Crazy.
you know what I'm
That's
saying? Like, dude.
all we wanted is Ariel to not make do stupid like Ariel, don't don't get yourself into a binding contract with a woman who clearly is manipulating your emotions. I
You're
mean, like,
16. You're
you're 60.
16. You just met this guy and you're
Right.
willing to like undergo first of all a transformation.
Right.
You're changing your entire identity and an entire self for a dude you just met.
She don't know no
You're
better.
and I know I get it, like it's cool to rebel against your parents, but you are
Mhm.
going into dangerous, literally dangerous waters or dangerous territories, no pun intended, and not knowing anything about the land you're getting into
No, nothing.
could almost got everyone killed. And then you
No,
eventually marry the dude. Like it's just you didn't learn nothing.
learn
Like
nothing. Mad headstrong.
like
Mad headstrong. She learned nothing.
like that's
Nothing.
why the Little Mermaid should be talked about. Not because, and granted, the real story of the Little Mermaid ends very badly.
Very
Like
badly.
Disney is
And she
Dis
dies.
right, like Disney is all colorful and like lovely. Oh, they live happy ever after. Like the real story, no, she
No.
dies
No, she's
because
dead.
it was dumb. It was super dumb. It was dumb as hell. Like it's not a smart thing that you did there. And I get it. She's 16 and 16-year-olds do dumb things, but this is not something to
Yes.
celebrate. Like it's really, really, really dumb.
People
Anyways,
are just like, why are they getting all mad? I'm like, yo, because it's Halle Bailey
right,
and the girl can sing. Have you heard her? Like, she sounds like Ariel. She does.
right.
She sang this like at Disney. I saw it. It was like on ABC, and I was like, I'm sitting here listening to her, and I'm like, y'all want to cast somebody else as Ariel? Because I don't who who you want to what you want Emma Stone
Right.
to play Ariel? You want Emma to dye her hair
Stop it.
red again? And
S-
is that
Stop it.
because La La Land? Because they thought La La Land won an Oscar, so clearly it's Emma Stone who y'all want to play. I'm just say like I don't, and hey, this is no shade, Emma. Emma, if you're listening, this is no shade. You know I love you. You know I absolutely adore you. You're one of my favorite people. My point is, really, it's
We picked
Halle.
someone better. We
She
picked someone better
sings
is what
like
we're
an
saying.
angel.
We picked someone better is what we did. Is what we're trying to get across is
That's
that
what
not
we're.
not that you're bad or anything like
We
that. I
love
just
we
we
love
have
you,
any
Emma.
beef against you particularly. We're just
No,
saying that in this case we picked the best person. That's
we
what
did.
we're saying. We picked
Yeah.
the best person. But then people were going on like, oh well, it was written by a Dutch author, and so that's why it can't be a black person. I'm like, you realize that there are Dutch black people? There's actually a term. It's Afro Dutch. You didn't know that that
Like,
people like black people live in the Netherlands. You didn't know that. You
you
didn't
didn't
know that
know
was a
that?
thing.
And
Or
then
the fact that
also,
the Little Mermaid can go anywhere because she lives in the freaking sea.
she lives in the
So
ocean.
she doesn't have to be from there. She doesn't have to be Dutch because she
She
lives in the
doesn't.
freaking ocean.
She's clearly not Dutch. That like wasn't Eric French or some nonsense.
Right? Like it's
Like
it's
like
yeah,
get
yeah.
out. And last but not least, mermaids aren't real. So they can be any skin
Right.
color we want.
There was nothing about the Little Mermaid. Maybe outside of like wealth, maybe generational wealth. I'll take that. But there's nothing about the Little Mermaid that makes me go, you know what? That's got to be a white woman. Nothing. Nothing. This is at all. And her freak with a Caribbean friend. Like, no,
I
no.
seriously, I've been like, wait a minute. So Sebastian came all the way from Jamaica, all the way to wherever you are. Is that what we're doing here? Like,
Right.
I'm just. I mean, I anyway, but for real, like, if there were creatures living in the ocean that somewhat resembled us, if we want to get scientific, I'm pretty sure their skin color would be something darker because light skin is easier to spot and they would want to remain hidden. So their skin
I mean,
color would probably be on the greenish brownish hue. Greenish
definitely would not
brownish
be just
bluish.
white
It wouldn't
unless they're
be
looking
white.
dead. It was probably
Right.
be, yeah,
Yeah.
green,
You
depending on how
know,
like the part of
the
the ocean that they're swimming in, blue.
right,
Like there's
darkish.
basically
Just
there's no
saying.
reason to be upset. And here's the thing. because there's a part of me being a comic book head where I'm like, I want the comic book to be on the screen as the live action. So like Black
Mhm,
Panther, I want the black guy to be on screen as the black
mhm.
guy. I
Yeah.
totally understand that. The difference here is that there's no there's no mermaid fandom where this would matter.
I know.
There's nothing that's tied like the Black Panther, like him being black is actually tied to his story. There's nothing like that with Ariel. And you have white Ariel already. You
Yeah.
do. So where
She's
I'm coming
just
from, where I'm like, there's not enough black people. If you could just blink and look anywhere, and you're gonna see a white person. It's just what it is. Even in the films that are predominantly black, there's like a black film. It's like no, there's a white person there. There was a key white person in Black Panther. It was.
right. There's 2.
You know what I'm saying? Like we can't get away.
I mean, it was just funny. Remember the comments where when Black Panther was coming out before it was released, and the people were like, "Wait a minute! So the only 2 white people that are in Black Panther are a Hobbit and and Gollum," and they're like, They're like, "This, I want to see this movie," and I laugh because it's so it's so right, so funny, and so well placed because even with Wakanda being a place that wasn't discovered, nobody knew it was there. And then all of a sudden it's there. And then Shuri is calling what's his face a colonizer.
It's perfect.
It's
It's
so
freaking perfect.
perfect. It's all so well placed. And so people, come on, like you just got to stop doing no racism. It's so much easier to not. It's just so much easier to not. It's just like wake up, go to the gym, have breakfast, live your life, but just don't actively, go online and then just do a racism because you can. Just
Yeah.
go past it. Don't be upset because a black girl is playing Athena's daughter. Nobody can You don't have any the god the Olympians aren't real, okay?
Right. It's
There's
not
no
a
proof that
thing.
they
It's
ever lived. So if somebody wanted to make Zeus black tomorrow, it doesn't matter, like, because it didn't matter, like, the race of them didn't matter.
right.
There's nothing tied to it to make it matter. Like, something that makes a little bit more sense is if you pick a different god, like a Norse god or something. Like, if you were picking Loki, it was like, "Okay, I understand why it's important that this person looks this way, because there's something tied to it, something that makes sense
Hell,
to
not
it."
even Loki. He's
And I mean
freaking
Loki.
with
Well,
Ymir in them.
no,
Like
yeah, yeah,
you he just happens to look human. He's like he
yeah.
wasn't born the
He's
way they were. You know what I'm
shapeshift.
saying?
He's shape
So he could be black. There's
He could be
and the
whatever
Loki
he
show
wants,
has a black Loki.
and
You
the
know what I'm
Loki show
saying?
has a
Like
black Loki. That's actually true. I picked the wrong
right. So
person.
it's like you don't it's because it's like because here's the thing, right? Disney is known for doing Disney's whatever. Disney's
Mhm.
Hercules, Disney's Mermaid,
Yeah,
Disney's whatever, and within that they change the story. They make things
yeah.
different.
All
They
the stories are
change
fake.
characters all the freaking time because there's no one story for
Right,
Hercules, right? And no one seems to have a problem. It's
right.
only when these people are played by someone who isn't white. But I'm like,
Yeah, and
they
that's when
don't
it
have
becomes
to
a
be.
problem.
They don't have to be.
Right,
It's really not like you can't spout history for made up people.
right.
You just can't.
Mhm.
Anywho, don't do a racism is the point of our show
That's the point of our
tonight.
show.
Uh, thank you for hanging out with us. We had a great time talking about all this stuff. Feel free to let us know if there's any shows you want us to kind of check out, and in the midst of our binging and whatnot. And we'll see. We'll see. I got to see Southside. I talked about that last episode based on recommendation, and I really really liked it. And
Mhm.
considering that we do recommendations all the time, yeah, we can receive some too. So definitely recommend some shows that are coming out or that are already out, and we'll look into it. And if it's a dope show, we'll eventually talk about it. That's how we do. Also,
Mhm.
ton of games coming out. Actually, there's a bit of a lull, which is great for me because I have a lot of games that I need to finish. But a couple of games coming out. I was got given a early code to play Evil Dead the game, and
Mhm.
so far I'm liking it a whole lot. Definitely check out GameSpot because I'm going to be doing guide work over there for the Evil Dead game, and Yeah, it's pretty solid so far. I'm enjoying it. If you're a horror fan, if you like that series, there's a lot of lore and a lot of Easter eggs and things of that nature, and it plays rather well so far. It comes out tomorrow, Breaking the Fourth Wall, which will be Friday. So, yeah, if you want, this is my recommendation to check it out. I've only been playing. I played the beta, and then I played the full game. I want to say like 4 hours worth.
Mm,
So I can't really, this is not a definitive review or anything, but I can very well say, like, if you're a fan of the Evil Dead series, you will like the game. Pretty much
okay.
so. But beyond that, definitely follow us. If you're listening on YouTube, hit that notification bell and, subscribe and all that in the opposite order. And so you'll be up on all the new content that's coming out. If you're listening via YouTube, I'm sorry, not YouTube, Twitter, because I actually post the, Audio Boom link there. Definitely follow us at the Gamecast One, or if you're listening on iTunes or any of the apps that we're on, add us to your RSS feeds and subscribe, uh, because it actually helps us. It helps us get seen by other people. So if you dig the show and you listen occasionally, go ahead and subscribe. Then more people will be suggested in more places, and hopefully we'll be able to build a bigger audience. But beyond that, I think we're good for housekeeping.
Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. Just remember to wash your faces, wash your hands, wash your butts. Don't forget
Yes,
that. Wear your masks. Please get vaccinated if you can. And, wear your masks. I don't know what these people are talking about out here. "Oh, we're out of the pandemic phase." What does that even mean?
we're not.
Like, look, people, just wear your mask. Just, I mean, anyway, that's what I do. But I also don't go places. But yeah, so do those things. Don't be a dick. Don't be a racist. Don't do a racism. And that's really it. We're happy you were with us. Have a good night. Bye bye.